Hello and welcome back to OC Avery. Today I'm going to take you through day by day of my weekly routine with the birds during the conditioning period. I'm going to show you the diet I supply the birds on. That's including their basic mix as well as the egg food I supplement them, the germinated seeds and the conditioning seeds, as well as the water and the different supplements and medication I give them to really boost them, taking them healthy and in a really good condition into the breeding season as we start to condition them. And then of course there's cleaning out the birds and making sure that the whole environment they are in is as clean and as healthy as possible so we get the best results from the birds. So we shall start on a Monday morning. So on Monday morning I come into the shed and give all of the birds a ration of germinated seed. If you haven't seen the video, it's somewhere up here, and go and watch that after this video. But for now, so we're just giving them a ration of germinated seed. Each pair or each individual bird will get about a finger drawer full per week, or maybe just every 2 weeks depending on what I'm supplementing at the time, and that will be given in a egg food drawer just like that. So that is a Monday morning. So there you are, that's first thing in the morning. I'm getting all of the egg food drawers here just full of the germinated seeds. So if you haven't watched the video I did earlier this week, we've germinated loads of seeds, so that's all in there. So now it's just time to serve it up to all of the birds in here, and then I'll do the same in the flights and the other shed. So then we come to a Tuesday. Now Tuesday is really what I'd call an inspection day. Although I am always inspecting the birds, always keeping my eye on them and really looking and watching their behaviour, it's a day that I put aside to look a little bit more closely at the birds individually rather than as a whole. So I might get a bird out of each cage, for example, in the conditioning period, and over the winter we've got birds sharing cages, so they're all sort of interacting, they've all got the same germs, and different things like that, if you understand where I'm coming from. So that's also a day to inspect for mite. So I'll take a bird or two from each cage, and I'll blow around the vent and blow on the back and look at the preening gland of the bird and seeing where there's mite, or if there is mite, and just check everything over and check all the birds over, and really just have a look. I'll get a few birds out in show cages and take a look at them, stand back for a little while and just watch the bird and see it work in the perches. So it's a day I put aside to look at the birds a little bit more closely and individually rather than as a whole unit in maybe one cage, for example, or as the whole shed, just looking at progress. And that's including from when I'm giving medication. So about 2 or 3 days after I've given a medication in the water, I'm starting to look for where that's affecting. So especially if we have, for example, greenfinches, I'm giving them baycocks on a Sunday, and then by the Tuesday I really do want to make sure that those birds are all right, and I want to have a look at really how they're developing and how they're improving, maybe on that medication. And that could be something else, a different medication. That could be a scaly leg treatment if maybe we have some mite burrowing under the scales of the bird, which does occasionally happen. Then I'll get the lotion and put it on a Sunday, and then I'll take a look 2 or 3 days later and see the improvement or the condition of the bird, and how it's improving. So on a Wednesday, I'll remove all of the drinkers from all of the birds and give them fresh water rather than any medicated water, unless it's is specific and needs to be medicated for larger periods of time, such as Baycox, for example, or any coccidiosis medication. So that is when I'll remove all the drinkers, give them a wipe down and a quick clean, and then we'll fill them up with fresh rainwater or tap water, and that's just no medication going into the birds, just to keep them clean throughout. And obviously I don't want to be giving them too much medication. I don't want them to be relying on that medication or supplements, for example, rather than maybe getting the vitamins from their food, rather than completely relying on a multivitamin supplement. So here we have the Omnivit removed just from what's left. That was from 2 days ago, and now just to top them up with fresh water. Just fresh water, topping up the drinkers just like that, and ready to give back to the birds. So then we come to a Thursday. Now this is another day to extra condition the birds and bring them on in that conditioning period. So like I said, on a Monday I'm giving them germinated seed. Now on a Thursday I will give them whatever's left, but I haven't got any left because everything's eaten all that. So now I have some egg food. So this is from Birdify on Facebook. So I'd like to say thank you to those for sending me a free sample of the egg food. It smells brilliant, to be honest, and it looks a great mix as well. There's Niger in there, there's all the small seeds, there's all the crushed biscuit, and there's everything in there, which is nice. So they make this egg food, and it looks a really good mix. I hope you'd agree. So if you are interested in that, the link will be in the description to Birdify's Facebook page, where you can buy this from. So we're giving all this to the birds today, and they'll all be getting that in an egg food drawer as well. So that's all of the birds in here, that's all the birds in the flights, and all the birds in the other bird room as well. So that's all the egg food from Birdify. So again, big thank you to those for sending me the free samples of the egg food, and also sending me a small little feeding dish. I actually thought this would be ideal for weaning the young chicks. And you know, the young birds, at least once it's closer to the breeding season, and we have actually got chicks coming out, so that'll be canaries and small finches at least with that, and also ideal for live food. So just again, big thank you to them for that. So I've given each bird about a pinch of the egg food, and I give that them over the next several days. Obviously I don't want to be giving them too much, because I don't want too much protein and bringing them into condition too early before it's really time to breed them. And then finally, it's Friday, finish work, and it is a decent time to go to the pub, if they were open at the moment anyway. And I try and think of it the same for the birds. The week's done now, we can relax. So all of the birds get a bath. I'll be using all of these baths, which I got from Avian World Dublin a few months ago now anyway. All the plastic baths. I'm using a few other different bowls as well, and I give all the birds a fresh bath of water to bathe in for the day. Now, one of the reasons I put the water baths in for on a Friday at least anyway for all of the birds is because on a Saturday we're cleaning out the birds and the cages, so all the newspaper is being taken out and replenished with fresh dry newspaper. So it just means that the newspaper isn't sat in there for a few days wet, and we don't want it growing mold or harbouring any bacteria. So I give the birds the baths on the Friday, so on a Saturday they're removed, the baths are cleaned, and then the cages are cleaned, so it's nice and fresh for the birds. So just like that, all of the birds have got water now. So we've got it all for the red pollcocks here and the siskin pairs down below. The canaries, I'll give them theirs pretty much later on. So once everything's had a bath here, the canaries will get a bath attached to theirs as well, and obviously the red poll hens are the same. I've just done that off camera, and that just obviously helps. Doing it on a Friday, so on a Saturday I'm removing all the paper, everything's being cleaned out, and then we've got nice fresh cages that don't have damp newspaper to grow mold and harbour bacteria. So now on a Saturday morning is clean out day. So I'm cleaning all of the cages in here and the other bird shed, as well as the flights, giving them a brush down on the floor. So I'll be scraping out each cage and replenishing the newspaper. So now the birds on Friday, they got these in. So on a Saturday morning, I'm taking all of the wet newspaper out from when the birds have bathed the previous day, so it isn't in there getting mouldy and obviously leaving the cages a mess. So I just scrape those out. Newspaper on the bottom. I'm not using Easy Bed at the moment, and the reason being is because I'm doing all these quickly and frequent clean outs. That it's a waste of Easy Bed, and I've saved my Easy Bed up pretty much for the breeding season, so I don't have to clean them out as often, because I'd rather not be disturbing the birds when they're breeding. So I'll just have to take the cage fronts off, scrape them down, get a bit of disinfectant and take the birds out and just spray it on the back, give it a wipe down, and then it's all ready to go. And just like that, that's the first cage cleaned. We've got the diatomaceous earth in there, and then we've obviously got the feeders here. These will be filled up tomorrow, and we'll be getting the med water on the birds tomorrow as well. We've got the perches back up as well, so it's just time to get the bird back in. So that's him back in, so now it's time to just get all the rest of the cages done. We've got all of these to do here, all of those, all of these, and the bottom ones, as well as cleaning down the floor, which is a week's worth of mess, and that's it. So that is a relatively clean floor. There's no excess seed now on there. There's obviously a little bit of mess just from where the paint has worn away and different things have worn into it over the past few months, but it's nothing that I can't get out with a good scrape and getting on my hands and knees and just getting it all up. But that's no problem at all. And then we've got all the cages nice and clean, just like that, and the birds are all happy. So then we come to our Sunday, and then we start to repeat the process again. So on a Sunday is the day that I'm giving every bird sort of a whole fresh set of seed. So I'm always topping up the seed. If I notice that some seed is slightly down and we haven't got as much seed in for the birds, I obviously top it up, because I have to top it up maybe 1 or 2 times every week. But then on a Sunday, I take out all that seed, I put it into a bucket and discard it to the side. I actually use that, and I'll clean the seed through. And I'll either put it onto the bird tables for the wild birds, or I'll put it out for the birds in the flights, and they can just pick at that. And then as it goes for water is the day all the drinkers will be taken down. I'll clean them through, and then the birds will be getting any medication if they need to be, or supplements. So this week it's going to be Omnivit from Versalaga. That's a conditioning supplement. So that'll be for 3 days this week. And then the following week, so next Sunday, it will be Fertivit by Versalaga as well. And I just switch that out each week. So 1 week is Omnivit, the next week is Fertivit, and I'll show you the concentrations I do with that now. So I'll give you a quick demonstration of using Omnivit. Now Omnivit is a fertility and conditioning supplement, so I'll give that to the birds once every fortnight at the moment in the conditioning period, and it's 1 scoop, level scoop like that, to 250 ml of water. So in here is a litre, so I'll be putting in actually 3 scoops. Now, rather than doing the whole 4, which is what's recommended, I'm only doing the 3 because at the moment, with it being the end of January, the start of February, I'm not looking to bring the natives into condition too quickly and too early. So I'll add that there, and then we pour the water in just like that. And then what that does is it allows it all to mix quite nicely, and I'll just top that up to a litre and serve that to the birds. So for the birds in these cages at least, and then the wire cages, they're all being fed out of these small feed hoppers, which just hook onto the cage fronts quite nicely. The other birds are being fed in the oval dishes, quite like what we have. Our diatomaceous earthin, which is the birds further back, just here in those cages. So I'll just take all those off. I empty those into a bin, so all the seed and all the leftovers, if you get me, is put into a bin, and I process that and I put it onto the bird feeders for the wild birds and for some of the birds in the flights if I feel it's good enough and of good enough value for them, and then for the other ones it's just in there. So at least all the birds in here, they're all on an almost standard British finch mix. These are all my red poles, and I've got a few siskins and canaries in here as well. That's just a standard British finch, and I add a little bit of the health seed I've got. I can't remember the name of the company which produces it, but either way, I've seen it works quite nicely for the red poles. From there, it's just a case of going around the whole shed and repeating the process. So all the waters will come off, and they'll all be topped up with the medication or the supplement of the in the water. And then again, for all the feeders, they'll all be topped up quite nicely. And that's pretty much a week's worth of food for the birds. I've found that at least per bird in there, they're getting through probably 2 of these a week, full. But what they do is they discard a lot of it, which is thrown out everywhere. So there's probably a little bit more, but I always keep them full because I don't want the birds going hungry, and I'm obviously monitoring what they're eating and keeping a close eye on that, because I don't want the birds going hungry, especially during the conditioning period, and also don't want them taking in too much food, which is too high a fat, which is obviously reversing the effects of the conditioning and the fitness. So also in an evening, I could have this on a timer, but I usually come in the bird sheds anyway in an evening, and I have a dehumidifier in each shed, and that just eliminates all of the water in the air, and it just makes it a much drier environment. The frost doesn't get to the birds as bad, and it doesn't take a bad effect on them, as I've been told by quite a few people actually. Some of the northern birds, like the northern bullfinches, tend to struggle with humidity and high moisture content in the air. So I've got one of these in each shed, and then the birds in the flights are a little different because they get the draft, but I don't put the bullfinches outside over the winter, at least when it's humid. So in an evening, I come in, turn that on, and then that will be on all night, taking out the water from the air. So that brings us to the end of this week's video on my daily routine, weekly routine with the birds. So I really hope you've enjoyed it. Now, a few things to mention before you go, if you don't mind just listening. So the first thing is there is a petition for the movement of poultry and birds and livestock because of the Brexit issues. That it's become a nightmare to actually move anything out of the UK or into the UK. So we can't bring birds back from Europe anymore, which we used to be able to before Brexit. And then also we now can't compete at the Golden Ring or the World Show or any of those sorts of larger scale bird shows, which is really unfortunate and quite a letdown for the hobbyists in the UK at least. Obviously what a lot of us aim for is competing in the world show and winning that gold medal in our class. And obviously that's really, I guess, the holy grail of showing to win the world show and the golden ring. So it's a real shame. So if you would, and it is free, just so you're aware, there is a link in the description to the petition. It's free to sign up, to sign the petition. All you have to do is enter your email address and confirm it in your emails, and then you've signed the petition. To date, it has about 800 or 700 or so signs. Has been signed by that many people, but the government will look at it once it hits 10,000 signatures. So if you would very much very much appreciated. It's not my petition, but I think it makes a massive difference to all the hobbyists in the UK that we're getting backed on this, and the government can respond at least, because it's hard work not being able to get birds now from Belgium, Ireland. I've got birds I need to get from Ireland, and I don't think I'm going to be able to now. And obviously we can't go to the world shows. Next up, I'd just like to say a thank you to Birdify. Jacob, who runs the company, sent me the free sample of egg food. I think the birds very much enjoy it. There's barely any left for any of them, so thank you to Birdify for that. There'll be a link in the description to Birdify's Facebook where you can buy some of the egg food if you're interested. I know there's some different deals going on at the moment, and he also sells a few different products like this little feeder here, which will be actually quite ideal for weaning the youngsters. So I'd just like to say thank you to Birdify, and if you are interested, just check them out on Facebook and see what you think, if you like any of their products. I'd also like to say a thank you to, I think it's Mitchell Cohen, for the Gloucester Fancy Canary book. I've started giving it a read over the past few days since I received it, and it's very interesting to understand a lot of canary genetics as well, and actually just breeding a quality Gloucester, as well as just breeding quality birds and different things it mentions in it. So a big thank you there, and if you are interested, then that's the book. And I do recommend reading it. It's very interesting. Obviously I don't keep Gloucesters, but it's something that I've looked into at least, and I might do in a few years time once I've got an established line of red poles and greenfinches. So again, thank you, and thank you for the book. So that brings us to the end of this week's video. Something to quickly mention as well is that I've got an order of the BioVet line products hopefully coming into the UK within the next week or so. So make sure you're joined onto our Facebook page, OC Avery, and the products will be available on there shortly. You will see them advertised, so as soon as you see them advertised, feel free to drop me a message and place your orders. I'm bringing in quite a few different products and some very important and interesting products for at least the breeding season. I've got a few different mite prevention and protection products which should be very good, and I've heard that very good reviews from those as well. We've got some new collie stock coming in, so that's against the black spot bacteria, so that's really an absolute must in the breeding season, because that will kill youngsters very quickly if the youngsters have black spot. And we've got a few other different things, so just keep your eye on our Facebook pages. There will be products become available very soon. So thank you very much for watching. If you have liked this video, please hit the subscribe button. It's free, there's no subscription payments, it's completely free to subscribe to my channel. If you did enjoy the video, please like, I really would appreciate that. Please make sure that you share this video with someone else who will be interested in finding out the daily and the weekly routine that I go through with my birds. I've done this a lot recently because of the current situation. I'm at home a lot more, so I have a lot more time to spend with the birds and just getting on with other jobs that I would usually all put together into a weekend or late evenings in the week. And then finally, please hit that notification bell, and that'll notify you every single time I upload a new video, so you won't miss any of them. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.